about my piece, Celestial Nesting. I started planning my piece way back in January when I received the organza, and I really didn't know what I was going to do except something about stars. Then I came across all this wonderful coloured netting. I looked at the netting and the organza together for a while before I came up with some ideas. I had a journal in which I wrote some ideas, as you do, and it's interesting going back through it and just seeing how my ideas evolved. I decided that was probably way back in April that I came up with this idea. So you can see it's fairly close to where I've ended up. I decided to explore nesting, and I looked up a lot of things about birds nesting, and it all came together somehow or other. I wanted to include in my piece my doll, which I actually made about 23 years ago. And I wanted her to be part of this. I guess it represents the inner child that we still may nurture or we still recall at different times. So my piece is really about looking up at the stars at night and how we remember our friends and different things that have happened in our lives. And this piece here, 25 different pieces, and these are the names of my friends and sisters, colleagues and neighbours who all gave me something precious to them. And I just lay it on the piece of netting, plenty of netting at my place, little bits everywhere. And I really let the small piece of treasure talk to me. I started stitching, and each piece evolved on its own. So that was really interesting, and so it's very meaningful to me because each of these have quite a powerful story. Then I stitched them together. Then the next challenge, of course, was to transport these from Australia to here. So I stitched across the panels across in 5s, folded them up, and when we got here last week, my other stars helped sew it all together. So that really makes it a collaborative piece. So here we are, all together, looking up at the stars, my doll nesting in her glowing pillows, looking up here in Kansas. And thank you very much for coming and enjoying my piece of work.
My name is Lois Denham. This is my piece called Mia Looks Down. Mia was the first piece I made of this installation. She's a photograph of a self-portrait that I made, and it was in the form of a mask, and it was something that our group did earlier last year. But she was the last bit of the piece to be installed. Most of this installation gets its inspiration from Aboriginal mythology, in particular some stories from Emily Kamari Wallace, who lives in the Simpson Desert. She's part of an Arunte tribe. And so this bottom section represents the earth, and the Earth is always evolving and changing, and so are the people on it. And I also wanted to represent like all the colours of the nationalities of the Earth, but also be true to the colours of the Aboriginal flag, which are this red, black and gold. So the piece tries to incorporate all of those things. And this, the way I tie this up, I wanted it to represent all the people of the Earth sort of coming together. But in the Aboriginal mythology, these seven sisters are escaping from a lustful Orion, and he is pretending to be the designated elder for their initiation ceremony, and the only way they can get away from him is going to the sky. So each of these dolls represents one of the seven sisters, and Mia is the oldest sister, so she's up there looking at all of the 6 sisters coming up into the sky. The Aboriginals did not have names, individual names, like the Greeks did for the 7 sisters. They were just always called, anyway in the stories I read, always called the 7 sisters. So in a way it's a bit of a cross-cultural piece because Mia comes from Greek mythology, but it's also about cultures coming together and what we can benefit from collaboration and meeting with hearts and minds.
I'm Dunkley, and this is my component for the Pleiades Project to the Stars Through Collaboration. The title of the piece is A Swarm of Fireflies, and it's based on an excerpt from a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson that I've incorporated in almost every single piece that I've created for this collaboration. My piece is made up of a piece of velvet that I had, and some black organza with silver stars, which is our unifying component, or unifying material in all the components, and some more silver netting in layers. I hand embroidered with metallic embroidery thread the quote, "Many a night I saw the Pleiades rising through the mellow shade, glitter like a swarm of fireflies tangled in a silver braid," which epitomizes the visual of the Pleiades for me in words. Hand embroidered with metallic thread, it was a true labor of love. I didn't want anyone else to do it. I felt like I needed to put myself through the arduous task. I could do about 3 letters a day maximum because it was so actually taxing with the materials that I selected to use, but I'm very happy with the effect. It goes in a spiral around the velvet column, and figuring out the mechanics of that appealed to my engineering self. So you read it by walking around it. And it's also shrouded mysteriously because I didn't want it to be a direct statement. I wanted it to be mysterious, like the cluster, the Pleiades cluster is itself. And I guess that's just about it. It seems to me like, love the sound bed. It seems to me like working on this piece as a labor of love for this project has been one of my favorite activities over the past several years. And I hope that many people can come to this project, not be afraid to touch, and enjoy and experience all the different components that are included in this installation.
Hi, my name's Peter and I'm from Canberra in Australia. This is my piece called Together Again, and it's based loosely on the myth that the Aboriginals have about the Pleiades star system, which is the 7 sisters came down to the earth and were pursued by a serpent and were separated, and I figured that that was a bit of our story where there were 3 of us in Australia and 4 here in Kansas, and then we came together again. Now this is the earth, and we're all tethered to the earth, and this is the 7 sisters up the top, and then we're all together again.
Hi, I'm Debra Nelson, and this piece is called Cluster Refuge. This piece represents a starship. We got the rocket boosters right down here. A Greek temple with a frieze of different myths from all over the world, and a biosphere. I made this piece to represent the past, the present, and the future, and how we look at the Pleiades from different cultures and different perspectives, scientific, culturally, personally. And my feeling is that in the future, we will be in a rocket ship in a biosphere looking at the stars in another way.
So this was really quite a stretch for me. I had the idea of making a dress, and I had many, many sketches, and once I finally started putting it together, it looked nothing like my sketches. But I'm fine with that, because I like to go with the flow. And this part here pretty much represents me. And then there are 6 panels for each of the other 6 stars. And there are shooting stars that end up in pockets. They're just plain stars that are everywhere. And I had a great time portraying a dress in the sky.
I'm Margaret Rose. This is my component for the Pleiades Project installation, To the Stars with Collaboration. And I thought I would read the Pleiades for a poetry poem that I created called Cosmic Rain. And this piece is called Cosmic Rain. In the center of it is that poem. Cosmic rain, coming from nebulous clouds, could asteroids bring sparks of life, conscious, sentient, and mobile? Collections of particles collide to form future genes, coded in bits and fragments. Creation, destruction, one.
And one more thing I wanted to tell you about was the sound bed. This was another collaboration between my son Tom, and he lives 7 hours away from me, so we had to get together 2 or 3 times, and we also talked over the phone, and he sent me little clips of sound, and I needed to explain to him the whole Pleiades collaboration and what I was making, and this is what he's come up with, 16 minutes of interesting music that was also put together with the sound of the women in an art group here in Kansas and the sounds of chatting of women at an art group I attend, plus Peter and Lois and I having a little bit of a laugh together about the project. And one other little special part of this is my grandson Rudy, who is just turned 4, saying "Twinkle, twinkle, little star," just that first line. So it is a little bit like the collaboration, I guess, the sound bed. It's a whole lot of pieces coming together to make one. And I hope you enjoy it as you wander around the gallery.